broadcast on YouTube today. It's January 26th, and I have 4:03 p.m. So this is our regular January monthly meeting of the Jefferson County Health Department Board of Trustees. So I will call the meeting to order. And can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Deal,
Here.
Dr. Henry,
Here.
Mr. Prater, Mr. Pig, Ms. Davis.
Here.
Okay, so we have two members missing, but we have three here, so that's a quorum, so
Yes.
we can conduct business.
Not being
And
taped.
our first item,
It's on YouTube, but you don't have anybody participating via Zoom, so that's not a.
Oh,
so Dr. Henry, would you mind reading our mission and vision, please?
sure. The mission at JCHD will champion positive health outcomes and behaviors through innovative programs and community engagement. The vision is advancing the health and safety of Jefferson County.
Okay, thank you. So all board members should have received a proposed agenda. Could I have a motion to approve that?
I make a motion. Second.
And a second, okay, is there any discussion on that? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the agenda as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the agenda as written is adopted. So we have some approval of minutes and expenditures. Go through these. First is approval of the October 27th board meeting minutes. All the board members were here for that meeting. Everyone should have seen a copy of those minutes. So they have a motion and a second to approve those.
I make a motion that the October 27 meeting minutes be approved.
A second.
Okay, so a motion second to approve those. Any discussion about the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, so those are approved. And we have approval of the November 30th, 2022 board meeting minutes. Everyone but Dr. Henry is here. As I understand it, she can vote to approve those, correct? Okay, so that's just two of us, so we have to table that.
No.
Yeah, you can take.
I make a motion that we approve the November 30th meeting minutes.
Okay, I'll second that.
You can take the vote. And the two of you can vote, Amber abstains, and both of you vote to approve it, that's approved, because the majority of the quorum.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, so we have a motion and second to approve those. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 I abstain.
Okay, so those are approved. And we have minutes to approve for December 30th, 2022. Everyone was here for that meeting. The motion second for those, please.
I make a motion to approve the December 20th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on those? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the December 30th minutes, please say aye.
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 Okay, those are approved. And our last meeting minutes to approve are for January 9th. Everyone is here for that meeting. The motion second on those.
I make a motion that we approve the January 9th meeting minutes.
I second.
Second, motion second, any discussion on those? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Yeah. So those are cool. Great, thank you. Those are all the minutes in that section. So now we have some approvals for expenditures. First is for approval of the December 2022 expenditures. The amount I have for those is $215,516.23.
Make a motion.
Second,
Okay, so a motion second to approve those. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I just want to point out that on the 14th of December, Architect Now Development Company received approximately $39,000 from the Health Department for the Aspen program. Again, just for the public that's watching, I want them to know that this is covered by some grant money. That what people have been saying to me is, okay, it was grant money, but couldn't the grant money have been spent for something else as well? Or if they didn't spend it for this, couldn't they use the grant money for whatever the other expenses they had at the health department? So I think I kind of would love it for you to address that, you know.
Sure. So the grant fund, anytime we receive grant funds, it has to be utilized for the purpose for which the grant was written. So for these particular funds, Architect Now Development, we have actually written a grant to produce the documents for Architect Now. So with Architect Now, we're looking at things like a 24/7 response line for individuals who may take some of the, or who may complete a self-survey online. And so that way, 24/7, they have access to professional resources and counselors. So that piece of it is being developed, as well as, I'm trying to look here real quick. It looks like the resource directory, which again is a comprehensive listing of all resources, from anything from food banks to mental health services for individuals who may need them. And it provides services within the locale of whoever is filling out the form.
I think maybe the public, that at least the ones that have been contacting me, would like to be able to sunshine a particular thing, and I'm not sure what to ask for, but they would like to know, like, where the funds, like the paperwork for the funds that were submitted to receive that grant. You know, what was the name of that grant? And can they get a copy of that paperwork through a sunshine request?
So
Because you say it was written for funding this Aspen program, which Architect Now is the entity that we're paying as a vendor. So I think what they're trying to see is, okay, this grant was written up. We'd like to see that paper where someone said, this is what we're applying for to use it for. What paper would they ask for? What's the name of that grant?
So the grant is through the Jefferson Foundation Aspen Sustainability Grant. Again, this was a grant that we were personally approached about because of the nature of the work that the foundation felt this was an extremely important project to fund. So they actually sought us out for that kind of grant opportunity. The other was the Local Public Health Disparities Initiative, and looks like that, those are the two that would be covered for this funding cycle.
So they could ask for the paperwork that was submitted by our health department in order to ask for those grants. You know, anytime you ask for a grant, you submit.
Christie.
Are you asking if the public can sunshine the grant proposal package?
Yes,
To the extent that it doesn't have confidential information, if they can.
they can, okay.
For example, if it contains common for numbers, they won't be able to have access to that. If it contains any kind of PHI, they won't be able to have access to.
Mhm.
Just for everyone's information, almost all the grants that or contracts that we get, specify exactly what the money is to be spent for. There have been a few, like recently, some of the monies that were provided to the county for COVID where it was kind of an open, it was open as to what that money might be used for, although once it was requested, it was for a specific purpose.
Correct.
So, yeah, so folks are asking, is there money that we could spend on other things? Probably the only way to do that would be for us to use some of our own funds to do whatever someone here may ask about, or
If I might add, sir, in the annual report that you all will be receiving today as well, you'll notice that about 45% of our total budget is mill tax funds, which are funds that we can utilize to address the community health needs, and that are mandated through our public health department statute. The majority of our funds come from contracts and grants and program revenue. And so the purpose of writing contracts and grants is to be able to expand services to the community that we wouldn't be able to afford by just having our mill taxes, to be able to increase access to care and expand services in the area.
And then since we're on the subject of these expenditures, also, I don't see Lewis Brisboe's Christie's law firm on these expenditures, but I did look at her bill, but is it not on here?
It is.
Is what's under
There's
L?
one, I see at least about 1214.
1214,
Mhm.
Benco, Napier. First page,
It's on page 2.
page 2. Oh, okay, gotcha. So the comment I'd like to make about that is I'm really happy to see this legal fees bill come down to $1,666. In the past several months, it's been super duper high, and I'm really glad to see that come down to a reasonable amount. So kudos to Christy over there and whatever's going on. Glad to see that. I'm done. What I had to say.
one other comment I'd like to make is that when we apply for grants and contracts, we don't just pull things out of the air. We either gather or are given a lot of data on any health and safety related issues in the county. And so the money we ask for is to address identified needs. And again, if we get a lot of input from community-based organizations, a lot of data from a lot of different places. And I guess if there are folks out there who may want to suggest something, that's fine too. But this is all data driven and based on community input. So that's why we ask for what we ask for. And it certainly helps if we could demonstrate a need for something, that it'll be approved or more likely to be approved. So. Okay, so let's see. So we're on approval of the December expenditures. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor of approving those, please say aye.
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 Okay, those are approved. Next is approval of the December 2022 electronic payments. Actual amount on those is $498,518.08.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
Okay, so you have a motion second to approve those. Any discussion? Hearing none, so all in favor of approving those electronic payments for December, please say aye.
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 Okay, again, those are approved, and Our last is pre-approval of the February 2023 electronic payments. Have an estimated amount for those of $585,242.27.
I make a motion to approve the electronic payments for February 2023.
I second that motion.
Okay, motion second. So any discussion on those?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
there's some really high amounts on here that we always approve every month, and I think that we should make an effort to, get a hold of some insurance companies to, get some bids and see if they can do something better on our health insurance and things like that. We're spending $100,000, just for example, wait a minute here. 46,000 Missouri Lighters, that would be our health insurance, correct?
No, it's retirement, it's required by the state. You can't go through a separate retirement.
That's retirements, yeah. And the health insurance, you see salaries and wages, 275,000, 100,000, and over half of that is taxes and liabilities. Wow. What does that 100,000 cover? Just curious.
You have to pay taxes.
It says tax, let's see, what's it say? Taxes and liabilities.
So correct me if I'm wrong, that would be social security tax, federal income tax, state tax.
And liabilities, what would liabilities be?
Unemployment.
I your workers' comp premiums.
Okay. Just sounds high, but I know we're dealing with a lot here, so, just wondered if we can
I think
do a little better.
we just went through the process for next year's health insurance, correct?
Every year.
And got a relatively small increase from last year, which I think sounded like a good deal to me. So I know it's not cheap, but that's the market. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none. Everyone in favor of approving pre-approval of the February electronic payments, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so those are approved. Next item is director's report.
Providing a few quick updates in terms of some items related to our accreditation, and the processes that usually go along with that in terms of health assessments, community improvement plans, strategic plans. So Mitch, which is the Missouri Institute for Community Health, is who we have our accreditation through. We have a resubmission that should be due shortly. I believe we've been accredited 2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
This will be, I think, the fourth
The fourth
or fifth
accreditation.
accreditation or reaccreditation.
Yeah, and so it is a process that it's extremely comprehensive review of our policies, our procedures, our activities, our documentation to ensure that we're utilizing best practices, following standard protocols for agencies. So we're getting ready to go ahead and resubmit for that. One of those things that we've just completed has been community health assessment was completed this past year. We do that and have done that for the last couple of years in partnership with Mercy Hospital Jefferson, Country, Jefferson Franklin Community Action, and Jefferson County Community Partnership. That's available on our website currently. We are currently working through our community health improvement plan, which continues our work with MOCP, which is the Missouri Center for Public Health Excellence. They are the contractor that has been assisting us with putting together 2 large stakeholder meetings with our partners to discuss strategies to address priorities identified in our health assessment. The 4 areas identified in the health assessment were access to care, substance abuse, behavioral health, and obesity. And the additional time we'll be looking at developing performance measures for them. So that's again part of our normal process to develop that for the accreditation. And then our strategic plan, we have approval to utilize our state infrastructure funds to pay a consultant to facilitate an agency strategic planning process, utilizing the Missouri Foundational Public Health Services model as our structure. We've been restructuring our agency post-COVID to embody the foundation of public health services as a framework for our operations. It's a shift from our more siloed pre-COVID operations to a more cross-cutting agency model that incorporates staff training across the foundational capabilities in order to approach work for multidisciplinary teams of foundational areas. COVID showed us the potential greater impact of our agency work when we position our diverse disciplines, including nursing, communicable disease investigation, health education, environmental, among others, into multidisciplinary teams focused on health topics such as COVID, lead, and immunizations, rather than having each discipline working on a smaller piece of the larger issue in their individual departments. In order to make this transition as an agency, we need our staff, partners and leadership to be engaged in that process. And we will use our work with consultant to train staff, leadership in our community on foundational public health services, redesign our job descriptions, roles, responsibilities, evaluations, and do our workforce development training to operationalize our agency to create the most significant impact we can have on our targeted health issues that were identified in the community health assessment. The funding will be utilized from the CDC Public Health Infrastructure Grant to develop the new workforce infrastructure. And then there's an additional funding grant of the workforce development grant will be utilized to provide additional professional development support to address the capabilities that are identified as part of that process. I'll be presenting my recommendation for the strategic plan and the new business. As a follow-up, I just wanted to let you all know that we have received a grant from the National Association of County and City Health Officials. We were one of 20 awards nationwide for this round of the injury and prevention funding, and we received an award of $299,082. The contract will run November 22nd, November 2022 through January.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're going so fast. What was the name of the grant? National
It's the,
Community?
we're just, you can condense it to NACCHO, but basically NACCHO stands for National Association of County and City Health Officials. So it's a federal program. We'll utilize our funds to build the capacity for the development, implementation, and maintenance of a public health data surveillance system in order to meet the increased demand for locally relevant, timely cross-sector data analysis with a focus on substance abuse and overdoses. So expanding our data sharing partners, conducting community facilitation to pull in community input and increase data sets that will be available on a community-facing dashboard and supporting data system. We'll utilize this data to inform our resource deployment, our educational efforts, and our ongoing programs. And then finally, just wanted to bring up that our April elections, we have 9 candidates that have filed for the 3 trustee positions. All 3 incumbents, Dennis Steele, James Prater, and Tim Pig, are running to keep their positions. That's all for my report.
Great news on a NACCHO grant. I know those are not easy to get, so congratulations on that. And that's it for your report.
Now, was that something that somebody in our department, our health department had on their desk and they're like filling out paperwork to send into them to get them to give us this grant? Or was this just something that they're doing for all the health departments?
No, actually, I wrote this grant for the health department, and working with the NOCD. And basically, there were 20 awards nationwide. So Jefferson County Health Department is one of 20 nationwide to receive this grant.
1 of 20.
Okay. Next section of the agenda is old business. We have none to discuss, so we'll move on to new business. First item there is the Hillsborough Satellite Office lease renewal. And again, everybody should have seen that in their board packet. This is space down the street from our main office here in Hillsborough that we use for number of different activities.
This year, Dennis?
Yes. And so the lease renewal is for coming year, correct?
Yes.
And it's for $2,000 a month.
And that building's located a couple blocks from here, and we use it for storage.
Just down the street and the next block. No, it's not for storage. We have personnel there. One reason we use it is because we don't have enough space for folks here. Correct?
Correct.
Do you want to say anything else about that?
So at this point in time, we utilize that space for staff offices, for some storage, and in particular, there is a large parking lot that is available for our mobile fleet, to be able to be stored. And so it is a necessary piece of infrastructure at this point.
And we'll no longer be doing it once we build our new facility. So we've outgrown this facility and that's what this is for.
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we approve the lease.
I second it.
Okay, motion second. Any other discussion? Okay, so hearing none, all in favor of approving the satellite office lease renewal, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that's approved. Okay, next is our annual report for this year. We're required to do this every year by the end of January. Send a copy to the county and to the state, correct? And this will be on the website,
Yes.
right? Okay. Any comments on that? Looks good to me.
It's very well done, very well put together.
I'd like to thank Brianne, particularly for her hard work on this, because a lot of hours into the design and actually worked on a new design this year, utilizing the foundational public health services as the template. Another thing that she included this year were updates from our partners who co-locate their services and the health department buildings to increase access to care for county residents. So for those who don't know, we have women, infants, and children that utilize some space in our Arnold office. The Scottish Rite provides speech therapy, and Provident provides mental health services. So again, trying to find ways to eliminate barriers and increase services to the clients coming through our doors. But again, and very much congratulate our team on a very successful year. I think they did fantastic.
A lot of people have been serviced this year. Well done.
$20,000 plus vital records process. That's a big number. Sorry, just looking through this real quick. If anyone's interested in all the different things the health department does, this is certainly a good way to get a little more familiar with all the different programs and activities and the numbers of services they provide. Anything else on that?
Yes,
Do we have to prove that?
I
No.
believe so. Just want to make sure you see it prior to submitting to them.
Okay. Okay, next is our strategic plan. You already mentioned that, Kelly. Anything else on that?
Just again, reminding you that we've received approval to utilize our CDC infrastructure funds to do the strategic plan, and that we are making the recommendation that we go with the La Ciana group based on their experience and working with public health agencies. The world is basically changing. Our strategic planning is changing as rapidly. We found that with COVID, we had completed a strategic plan just prior to doing our prior to responding to COVID, and unfortunately only a few things are still applicable. So it really taught us the importance of having a very flexible, responsive plan to allow us to adapt as new challenges come up or new changes with our funding come up. So we were making the recommendation to the board to go with the Lapiana consulting firm.
I'm sorry, who was that again?
Sorry, Lapiana. It's PIANA.
That's not underlined on the agenda, so are we voting on it or?
You do need to approve it. You need to approve the recommendation of the
motion would be act on the director's recommendation to approve. Lapiana to conduct the strategic plan.
Make a motion that we accept the recommendation on the strategic plan.
What's that for, Kevin?
It is for 35,000.
If we don't have the paperwork for that in front of us, the strategic plan,
It's to prepare it.
To
It's
prepare.
the plan, yes, ma'am. And actually, so one of the pieces of this is they're asking, as part of this process, we normally would have staff, board, and community members participate in the strategic planning process. So we would have board representation as well.
and this company that's gonna put this together for us wants to charge us 35,000.
Correct.
Why are we not doing this in-house?
We do not have the bandwidth to do this in-house. Basically, once again, this is something that is part of the infrastructure improvements that have been approved for the public health infrastructure grant. This is in line with the standards. Basically, we went out for proposals and found our proposals went anywhere up to 58,600 to do a strategic plan. We brought, there are the two that basically I have that I would recommend would be Nonprofit Services Consortium, which came in at 30,000, or I would recommend Lapiana at 35,000. Those were the cheapest and best. We've worked with both agencies prior to this. They do really good work. My preference for Lapiana is the simple fact of the method that they are proposing is a more real-time, responsive strategic planning process, as well as the fact that we've worked with them prior to this, and they are very attuned to the current situation of what public health infrastructure is going through. And so I think they would be able to provide a more tailored approach to our services.
And this amount's all covered, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So it is not coming out of our funding, it's coming out from grant funding.
So again, that's one of the reasons, as we discussed earlier, the reason in looking at and writing for grants is to be able to provide services or to be able to expand capabilities of the agency that we wouldn't normally be able to do with limited funds, or just our mill tax funds.
And I can say it's pretty common for probably the great majority of the local public health agencies to find folks to do or to help with their strategic plan. It's not at all unusual.
This is something we do every year.
No,
This is the first time we've done it.
No.
no.
No. So our last strategic plan was in 2019, just prior to COVID. Usually
Why wouldn't we just use that plan again from prior to
Because
COVID?
it doesn't apply. Everything has changed, ma'am. The way that businesses run, the way that employees are engaged, the types of programs and services that we're required to do have all changed since 2019 dramatically. And so the plan that was in place at that point in time is no longer applicable.
They're typically written every 3 to 5 years, and then you visit them. I mean, you manage with that, and every decision you make is based off the data that you put together for the strategic plan. So that guides the decisions, the grants the institution goes for. All of those things are guided by this plan. This is a typical business expense.
So would you say that the 35,000 we're spending is a good investment because it helps with the grant writing processes?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yeah, and so we do need to vote to approve that, okay,
I made a motion.
okay, I'm sorry.
second it.
Second, okay. Any other discussion? Okay, hearing that, all in favor of approving La Piana to conduct the strategic plan, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, last item is an update regarding Hillsborough office hours.
So, as promised, when we, began to reevaluate our staffing structure, and pulling back, into the two offices for Arnold and Hillsborough, that we would begin looking at Friday hours again. We've been working with staff to ensure that we can, have coverage and get those pieces put into place. And we are looking at beginning Friday, March 3rd, opening the Hillsborough office for vital records, permits, and basic services. So, and it will be open, our normal business hours.
Monday through Friday, back to Monday through Friday,
I'm sorry, Kelly.
at all three. Arnold, Hillsborough, and
I would just,
High Ridge,
well, High Ridge is closing, right?
right,
correct,
so you did you say Hillsborough and Arnold?
it just does work.
Right, okay. All right, that's good news. Okay. Nothing else, we do have a couple of items for a closed session. For anyone listening to the meeting. We'll go into closed session, stop the broadcast, and we will come back. Once we go back into open session, but that'll probably be very, very quick. So it's your decision as to whether to continue to listen or not. But having said that, can we leave the closed session? And
Yeah, I'll make,
reasons,
do I need to make a motion to close open session?
as for the purpose of,
No, we gotta close open session first, right?
Yes,
So I make a motion that we close open session.
second.
And then you're going into closed rooms.
Yes. For 610.0211 and 14.
You need to read the.
Well, Tim Pig usually brings them. Relating to legal actions, cause of action, or litigation involving the Jefferson County Health Department, that's 610.0211. Any confidential or privileged communication between the Board of Trustees of the Jefferson County Health Department, its representatives, and its attorney. And records which are protected from the disclosure bylaws, 610.02114.
okay, so the motion to close open session. Second.
Second,
All in
oh, you
favor?
did. Did you second or did I? Did you ask for a second or?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in front of you.
No, so you second.
Second, okay.
All right, so all in favor of closing open session, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we roll call to open closed session.
Mr. Beal,
Yes.
Dr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. Prater, Mr.